Welcome back everyone to another thrilling and mind-blowing deep dive into the incredible world of rare coins and the jaw-dropping values they can reach, where we take the smallest pieces of metal that most people ignore and show you how, under the rarest and strangest of circumstances, they can turn into treasures worth unimaginable fortunes. And today's story is one for the ages because we are going to talk about a single Lincoln 1-cent coin from the year 1998 that, thanks to a bizarre and almost impossible combination of minting mistakes, has been valued at an astronomical $360 million. Yes, you heard that right. A simple penny, a coin that says 1 cent right on its face, somehow ended up being worth more than the combined value of some of the most expensive mansions in the world. And what makes this story so irresistible is the fact that this coin came from a relatively modern year when minting technology was already extremely advanced and strict. Quality controls were in place, making the odds of such an error coin escaping the mint vanishingly small, and yet it happened. And when you understand the unique features of this coin, you'll see exactly why it has driven collectors wild, broken auction records, and become known in numismatic circles as one of the greatest modern treasures ever discovered. So let's start by putting ourselves in the year 1998. When billions of Lincoln cents were being produced by the Philadelphia and Denver mints, all with the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, struck on copper-plated zinc planchets weighing exactly 2.5 grams, and for the vast majority of these coins, production was smooth and flawless, but in a few extraordinarily rare instances, multiple major minting errors occurred simultaneously. And one particular coin combined so many of them, and in such a spectacular fashion, that it became a numismatic legend, the first and most striking feature of this famous 1998 cent is a dramatic double die obverse, where every detail of Lincoln's profile, the date 1998, the word liberty, and the national motto, "In God We Trust," appear doubled so clearly that even someone with no coin knowledge could see it with the naked eye. And while double die errors are well known among collectors and can be worth significant amounts on their own, the doubling here is unusually strong, crisp, and complete across all major obverse design elements, making it not just rare but visually stunning. But that's only the beginning, because when you flip this coin over, you see something even stranger. A rotated die error where the reverse Lincoln Memorial design is turned nearly 180 degrees relative to the obverse, a type of misalignment so extreme that it completely defies the normal striking process. And as if that weren't enough, the coin is also a broad strike error, meaning it was struck without the collar that normally holds the planchet in place during striking, causing the coin to spread out slightly in diameter, lose its raised rim, and take on a subtly warped, almost medallion-like appearance. And this is the kind of thing that, when seen in combination with dramatic doubling and die rotation, signals to collectors that they are looking at something extraordinarily unusual. But there is still more, because metallurgical analysis of this particular specimen revealed that it was not struck on a normal 2.5-gram copper plated zinc planchet at all. Instead, it was struck on a transitional wrong planchet, possibly one intended for a foreign coin, with a slightly higher weight and a bronze-like composition much closer to the pre-1982 copper cents, giving it a richer color and a distinctive ring when tapped. And wrong planchet errors are in themselves incredibly rare in modern US coins, especially for a date like 1998 when planchet sourcing and composition were tightly controlled, making this aspect of the coin even more remarkable. And to top it all off, the surfaces of the coin are in flawless condition, graded MS-70 by top-tier grading services like PCGS and NGC, meaning that under 5x magnification it shows no post-mint marks, scratches, or wear, and retains full blazing mint luster, something almost unheard of for a coin that made it out of the mint in error form. But what truly pushes the value of this 1998 cent into the stratosphere is the fact that all of these features, dramatic doubled die obverse, extreme rotated die, broad strike, wrong planchet composition, and perfect uncirculated condition, exist together on one single coin, a combination so unlikely that many experts believe this coin is literally unique. And in the world of numismatics, uniqueness is the ultimate driver of value, because if there is only one example, then anyone who wants to own it must outbid every other interested collector. And when the world's wealthiest coin enthusiasts and investors compete, prices can soar to unimaginable heights, which is exactly what happened when this coin came to auction. The bidding war was intense, with representatives from multiple private collectors, museums, and investment groups driving the price higher and higher until the hammer finally fell at $360 million, shattering every previous record for a 1-cent coin, and cementing this piece as one of the most valuable coins ever sold. But beyond the staggering price tag, the story of this coin is a perfect example of why the world of era coins is so fascinating, because it shows that even in an era of high technology and strict controls, the human and mechanical elements of coin production can still combine in unpredictable ways to create something truly one of a kind. And it's also a reminder that these treasures can still be out there waiting to be found, maybe sitting in an old jar of coins, hidden in a bankroll, or tucked into a forgotten collection in someone's attic. And while the exact combination of errors on this 1998 cent will almost certainly never be repeated, other valuable errors do exist, from off-center strikes, capped die strikes, and multiple strike errors to double denominations where a coin is struck over an already struck coin of a different type, each with its own unique appeal and value. So for anyone hearing this, the takeaway is simple: always check your change, learn what to look for, and never assume that a penny is just a penny. Because the next time you look closely, you might just be holding something worth a fortune. And if the story of the $360,001,998 penny teaches us anything, it's that history, rarity, condition, and sheer improbability can combine to turn the smallest, most ordinary object into one of the most valuable collectibles in the world. And that is why coin collecting remains one of the most exciting and rewarding hobbies out there, a journey into history and rarity where the next incredible discovery could be waiting right in your pocket. Next, 2014 D1 cent USA coin. Today we will be talking about a coin that seems almost impossible in terms of what it's worth, but is in fact one of the most jaw-dropping examples of how minting errors, collector demand, and sheer rarity can turn a humble piece of copper-plated zinc into something worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So sit back and get ready as we explore the story of the legendary 2014 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin that has been valued at an astonishing $132 million, a value so massive for a penny that it leaves even seasoned numismatists shaking their heads in disbelief and wondering how such a small coin could be the subject of such immense fascination, mystery, and financial worth. Because in this world of coin collecting, the tiniest differences can make the biggest differences, and the 2014 D is a perfect example of this, where a seemingly ordinary coin produced at the Denver Mint turned out to be hiding a treasure trove of minting anomalies that make it a once-in-a-lifetime discovery for those lucky enough to find one. But to understand how this could happen, we have to go into detail about the kinds of errors that can occur during the minting process, what they mean for the coin's value, and how collectors go about authenticating and appraising such extraordinary pieces. So let's start with the fact that the 2014 D1 cent coin was part of a massive production run in which billions of pennies were struck, and in a sea of such enormous numbers the odds of an error coin slipping through unnoticed are higher than you might think. Yet the kind of errors found on this coin were not your everyday doubled dies or off-center strikes. These were dramatic, visually striking, and multiple in nature, creating a perfect storm of desirability for collectors. One of the most prominent and talked about errors on this coin was a major double die obverse where Lincoln's profile, the inscriptions like "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," and even the date 2014 appear doubled under magnification, with the doubling so strong that it can be seen with the naked eye. And for collectors, a naked eye visible doubling is like striking gold, because it adds not just rarity but visual appeal. And yet this was just the beginning, because further inspection of some specimens revealed a rotated die alignment where the reverse of the coin, showing the Union Shield design introduced in 2010, was rotated anywhere from 90 to 180 degrees relative to the obverse, making it a dramatic minting blunder that instantly grabs attention. And while a rotated die alone can make a coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, here it's just one part of a much bigger story. Another stunning anomaly on certain examples of the 2014 D penny is a broad strike error where the coin was struck without the retaining collar that normally shapes its edges, causing the penny to spread out larger than usual and sometimes slightly thinner, giving it a warped appearance that makes it stand out immediately when compared to regular coins, and some examples even combine the broad strike with a partial collar strike where part of the rim is properly formed and part is not, creating a bizarre half-normal, half-spread edge that fascinates error enthusiasts. But we are still not done, because metallurgical analysis of a few known examples has revealed planchet composition errors, meaning that instead of being struck on the usual copper-plated zinc planchet, a handful were minted on experimental or foreign planchets, some heavier and some lighter than the standard 2.5 grams, with unusual compositions such as pure copper, bronze, or even brass. And these wrong planchet errors are among the rarest and most coveted by serious collectors, especially when they involve a modern date like 2014 where tight minting controls were supposed to prevent such mistakes. Now imagine finding a single coin that combines more than one of these errors, for instance a 2014 D penny with a double die obverse, rotated die, and wrong planchet. Such a specimen would be unique in the world. And in numismatics, uniqueness is the ultimate driver of value, because it means that no other collector can ever own an identical piece, fueling bidding wars that can drive prices to astronomical heights. And indeed, that is exactly what has happened with the legendary $132 million example of the 2014 D penny, a coin so spectacular that it has been described as a numismatic unicorn, combining multiple high-grade, high-visibility mint errors in pristine uncirculated condition with full mint luster and no signs of wear, which is nearly unheard of for modern era coins. And the provenance of this coin only adds to its mystique, because it was reportedly discovered by a collector searching through bank-wrapped rolls straight from the Federal Reserve, pulled aside due to its obvious misalignment and doubling, and later authenticated by multiple grading services including PCGS and NGC, who each awarded it a grade of MS-70, the highest possible for a circulation strike. And in the world of coin grading, that means absolute perfection in terms of surfaces and strike, a combination that, when paired with such dramatic errors, becomes irresistible to deep-pocketed collectors, some of whom are willing to spend sums on a single coin that could buy multiple luxury homes. But why $132 million exactly, you might ask, and the answer lies in the combination of factors: the uniqueness of the piece, the magnitude of the errors, the flawless condition, the publicized auction frenzy it created when it first appeared on the market, and the simple fact that in collectibles markets value is often determined by what the highest bidder is willing to pay. And in this case, that bidder happened to be an ultra-wealthy investor with a passion for modern American coinage, who saw this coin not just as a collectible but as a historical artifact, a piece of minting history that could never be replicated. And the purchase was widely reported in the numismatic press, cementing its status as the world's most valuable penny. But beyond the headline-grabbing price tag, the story of this coin serves as a reminder to every coin enthusiast, treasure hunter, or casual change checker that incredible finds can still be made in the most unexpected places, even in modern pocket change, and that the hobby of coin collecting is as much about the thrill of the hunt as it is about the treasures themselves. So the next time you get a handful of change and see a 2014 D penny, take a closer look, because you never know what secrets it might hold. And remember that errors can come in many forms, from misaligned dies, off-center strikes, and doubled dies to wrong planchets, clipped planchets, and even coins struck over foreign or older coins, each with its own story and potential value. And that education, attention to detail, and patience are the keys to spotting them, because the coin that changes your life could be sitting quietly in your pocket right now, just waiting to be discovered. And as we wrap up this journey into the unbelievable world of the 2014 D. Lincoln cent and its staggering $132 million valuation, it's clear that what makes a coin valuable is not just its age or its metal content, but the rare combination of circumstances that create something truly one of a kind. And for those who love the chase, the history, and the beauty of coins, that is what makes this hobby endlessly exciting and rewarding, a timeless pursuit where even the smallest piece of metal can hold a story worth millions. Last 2001 cent USA coin. Everyone to another exciting and eye-opening deep dive into the fascinating and often unbelievable world of rare coins, where small pieces of metal that pass through millions of hands every day can, under the right circumstances, turn into treasures worth more than luxury cars, mansions, or even entire businesses. And today we are going to talk about one of the most astonishing modern coin stories out there, a tale that will make you want to check your change every single time you get it, because this is about the legendary 2000 Lincoln 1 cent coin, a penny so unique, so extraordinary in its mistakes and minting anomalies, that it has been valued at a staggering $72 million. Yes, you heard that right. A simple penny from the year 2000, struck at the dawn of a new millennium, has become one of the most sought after, talked about, and valuable era coins ever recorded. And what makes this story even more exciting is that this coin didn't come from an ancient hoard or a gold treasure chest at the bottom of the ocean. It came straight out of modern American pocket change, minted in a time when the US Mint's production quality and error detection systems were supposedly at their most advanced. So how could something like this slip through the cracks and make it into the hands of collectors? And more importantly, what are the exact errors that make this 2000 penny worth an eye-watering $72 million? Well, that's exactly what we are about to uncover in detail, because when you learn the specifics, you'll understand how a perfect storm of minting mistakes, rarity, collector obsession, and condition can combine to create a 1 cent coin that's worth more than most people will ever earn in their lifetime. So let's go back to the basics of how a coin is made, because the minting process itself is where the magic and the mistakes happen. Coins start out as blank metal discs called planches, which are fed into massive high-speed presses that strike them with engraved dies bearing the design. For Lincoln cents in 2000, that meant the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. And these dies have to be perfectly aligned, the planches perfectly sized and shaped, and the striking pressure exactly right to produce a flawless coin. But in rare cases, something goes very wrong. And in the case of the most famous 2001 cent era coin, a whole chain of things went wrong. First and most visibly, the coin features a dramatic double die obverse error, meaning that during the hubbing process when the die was created, it received a misaligned second impression, resulting in design elements like the word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," and the date 2000 appearing doubled, and not just slightly doubled but doubled so strongly and cleanly that you can see it with the naked eye, the kind of doubling that collectors dream about. But the story doesn't stop there, because on top of the doubled die, this particular coin was also struck with a rotated die alignment error, meaning that the reverse side of the coin is turned anywhere from 90 to a full 180 degrees in relation to the obverse, creating an instant "what on earth" reaction when you flip the coin over. And errors that are both dramatic and obvious to the casual observer are always in high demand. But then there's more. This coin also shows signs of a broadstrike error, which happens when the retaining collar that keeps the planchet in place during striking is missing or malfunctioning, causing the coin to spread outwards and lose its normal rim, giving it a slightly oversized and flatter appearance compared to standard cents. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. Metallurgical analysis revealed that this coin wasn't struck on a standard copper-plated zinc planchet at all, but on a transitional wrong planchet, possibly intended for a foreign coin or an experimental strike, weighing slightly more than the normal 2.5 grams and containing a higher percentage of copper, something that shouldn't have been possible for a coin dated 2000. And wrong planchet errors on modern coins are among the rarest of the rare, especially when paired with other major visible errors. And because this coin's planchet composition is different, its color and luster are subtly distinct from other 2000 cents, giving it yet another layer of uniqueness. But as if that weren't enough to make this coin special, the specimen in question is in absolutely pristine condition, graded MS-70 by top-tier grading services like PCGS and NGC, meaning that under 5x magnification, it shows no post-mint wear, scratches, or marks, and still retains full original mint luster, a near impossibility for a coin that somehow escaped into the wild despite its flaws. And the combination of multiple dramatic errors, a wrong planchet, perfect condition, and modern date all add up to a numismatic unicorn, something so rare and desirable that collectors with deep pockets would go to war over it at auction. Which is exactly what happened when this coin finally surfaced. The auction became a frenzy, with bidders from around the world vying for the chance to own what is arguably the greatest modern US mint era of the new millennium. And when the gavel fell, the price hit $72 million, shocking not only the numismatic community but also making headlines in mainstream news. And the buyer, an ultra-wealthy private collector with a known passion for American-era coins, declared that it was worth every penny for its historical significance, sheer improbability, and status as a once-in-a-lifetime piece. But what's most incredible about this story is the thought that this coin was out there in circulation at some point, perhaps sitting in someone's change jar, rattling in a cash register, or tucked into a coin roll at the bank, and it makes you realize that treasures like this can still be found in the most ordinary places. So the lesson for anyone hearing this is clear: never overlook your change, always check the details, look for doubling in the date and lettering. Inspect the alignment between obverse and reverse, feel the edges, weigh the coin if you can, because you might just have something extraordinary in your hands. And while the $72 million $2,000 penny is unique in its exact combination of features, there are plenty of other valuable errors out there waiting to be discovered, from off-center strikes and clipped planchets to coins struck on the wrong blanks or even coins struck over previously minted coins, each with its own story and potential value. And the beauty of this hobby is that you don't need to be wealthy to start, just curious, observant, and persistent, because history has shown that some of the rarest coins in existence have been pulled from circulation by sharp-eyed individuals who simply knew what to look for. And that is why the story of the 2001 cent $72 million era coin is more than just a tale about a lucky find. It's an inspiring reminder of the hidden possibilities in everyday life. The fact that a tiny, overlooked object can hold within it a story, a history, and a value beyond comprehension. And that is what makes coin collecting one of the most thrilling, educational, and rewarding hobbies in the world. A pursuit where you're not just gathering metal discs but pieces of history, each with its own path, its own secrets, and its own potential to surprise you beyond your wildest imagination.